The purpose of this video is to discuss my first ever journey with intuitive eating while on the holidays, while on an extreme caloric deficit. So, for some context, I have been on a caloric deficit seriously for about 5.5 months now. I started in mid-June. I was around 225 pounds. I'd probably say 21% body fat. I didn't get a scan then, but just based on some images and everything, that's what I'd put myself at. And now I am at around 185 pounds on average. I got a DEXA scan done as well about 2.5 weeks ago, where I roughly was around 187, 189, and I was around 15.7% body fat, which I was pleasantly surprised to see that because my scale, my smart scale that I have told me I was at around 13, but that's like a $25 smart scale, so I did not put much faith in that measurement, but still it was nice to see that a more accurate scan. Obviously, I know a DEXA scan is subject to faults and inaccuracy, but it was nice to see that between a cheap smart scale and an expensive machine, there was less of a difference. So that was good. And then with Thanksgiving coming up, I was kind of curious to see what would happen. So I was not able to track what I was eating, nor really stay consistent with my training regimen for about 2 weeks there. I just got back to the gym today, as a matter of fact, and I have about 3 weeks before I start the Christmas holidays, where I get off of work and go back and kind of get to do the same thing again. But in all honesty, I was very pleasantly surprised. I thought I was gonna gain, 2 to 3 to 4, 5 pounds, possibly get back up to the 190 range, but I really wasn't. Um, it was good. It was good. Very productive, very smooth sailing. Of course, grandma was upset when we had Thanksgiving because I say she was upset, just was, typical grandma acting shocked when you don't take third and fourth helpings of her cooking, especially at Thanksgiving. But it is what it is. I don't really want to interrupt the progress I've made and have to spend the last part of my deficit because, oh, backtrack. I am ending my deficit at year's end. I think the goal right there is to just from a numerical perspective, get to around sub 15% body fat, as well as get to sub 180, probably like 179, as far as body weight goes. That is not something I am staying at by no means. I am 6'4", which because of that, we know that's not sustainable to be at that weight forever. But I wanted to get the extreme and excess fat off with this cut. That way, when I start my lean gaining phase, I really don't feel like I'm just undoing months of progress to where the muscle I see, the changes in the mirror are not being overly masked by the inevitable fat that is to be gained whenever I start my lean bulk. Obviously, we're going to work to mitigate as much as possible as far as fat gain on this bulk, but that is kind of where I'm at. So it was pretty interesting to see not much damage was done in the 2 weeks that I was out for Thanksgiving, but it's definitely something to pat myself on the back on for not overdoing it when I easily could have. So that is that. I know this rambling video is not the best, but I will work to continue improving my quality. So stay tuned.